you want more?
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
All right, so I got a few questions for you, and we'll just zip through these. I know I got something happening here in a few minutes, but it's still good to catch up. Now, you have new tunes that you're working on, but not an actual album as of yet, correct?
No, we're working on an album right now. Yeah, I mean, we have we just released a single because it was just, it was time to put something out. It's a single and the video, and yeah, we're into our new record. We have a bunch of demos done, and we're actually mixing two of them. Two of them are complete. So I'm gonna do a couple vocal touch-ups on them. That's about it. A song called "Bow Down," and another song called "We Were Beautiful." And the single that we just released is called "Last Words." So,
how long have you guys been working on these tunes? Because I know the last record came out a little bit ago. I think at that point you guys were working with what is it, EMP, right?
Yeah,
that's the record.
Yeah, we were working with the EMP label group, and then the last record came out. We made a splash with that, and it's all good there. We're still working with Tom Hazard,
okay.
And we're moving forward. Things are looking really good.
And as far as the tunes, I mean, are any of these songs or song ideas and stuff that you have that you're working on demoing and finishing up and stuff, all fresh stuff, or is this stuff that some of it might have been stuff that you didn't make the record last time?
No, it's all fresh. It's all fresh. It's all stuff that we started, kind of storyboarding ideas out right after the last record was released. So, we just started kind of like, some of them are, partials, and some of them are the ideas complete. We just haven't tracked them, So I would say we're probably about 7 songs into the next record as far as what's written. So we're getting close,
Yeah. As far as the last record, because I think the label folded, didn't it? Or it's just not in existence. And is that record still available?
Yeah, it's absolutely still available. It's available wherever you want to buy it. It's on all the platforms, and you can if you want to order hard copy CD of it, you can get it through like Tower Records or Amazon or whoever. Kmart, I think, even has it. So,
no kidding. Yeah, I mean, I got the physical copy, but I think I got that through Amazon. Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious if that was still available, being that the situation with the label and stuff like that.
No, that was all. I have a separate distribution deal. I mean, the label that we were working with basically was with Tom and David, and
right.
And we basically were just using their promotions arm and their network of people,
Yeah.
And via Tom, especially now that he's getting all plugged back into the business after taking a little break. He's still got all the same resources, So yeah, I just saw Tom actually a couple of weeks ago at Guitars Under the Stars, and we actually played a couple songs with him. So,
oh wow, okay, cool. And I think you guys got to perform some of the new stuff on there, right? At that performance. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. We played Last Words, Bow Down, and Beautiful. We played all 3 of the ones that are basically all tracked. I mean, Last Words obviously is, but so yeah, I mean, we performed all 3 of those. It was a great set. The people were awesome. It was hot. It was really hot, man.
Right. That it was that weekend where there was like 100+ degree weather everywhere. It seemed like across Oregon. So
yeah.
And then what was the response to that? Because I know, being that you guys are Northwest band, you have your fair share of fans that make it out to that just to see you guys and stuff.
It was awesome. It was totally awesome. There wasn't a lot of our normal group down there because it was down in Lebanon, and people just don't want to make that drive, I guess, or whatever. But
right.
But it was really incredible. Actually, we gained a bunch of new folks, that into our fold, and they seem to appreciate it. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. and in working with Tom, you said you guys performed a couple tunes. So what did you get a chance to perform with him?
Well, I played. So I played on stage. I did two Megadeth songs with Tom, with Chris Poland.
Okay.
And two of the guys from a band called Suicide Silence.
Okay. Right.
Mark, the guitar player, and I forget the drummer's name right off the top of my head, and Phil Demmel from Machine Head. And wow. Yeah, and being on stage with those guys was just fascinating. And Chris Poland was just such a awesome guy, and you know, Stu Ham was there and stuff, and all that stuff. And Krishta from Stone Sour, the guitar player, was there, and he played some songs that night. Brandon did a song with him or two, and then we played the one of David and Tom's song called "Simple Truth." I don't know if you remember when I did that playthrough on bass.
Oh, right, yeah, right.
Yeah, we played that song, and it was myself on bass and Kyle on drums and Brandon playing guitar. So that was awesome. Yeah, and it was nice. You know, Tom loved it, and it was cool. So
did you get video of that, or did anybody catch a video of that?
I think there's got to be something floating around somewhere. I haven't seen it yet. I saw a little tiny clip of it, but not a whole lot. So, but it was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like, just by looking at the roster of people that were going to be there, I mean, it was just kind of like, wow, you know, it's like somebody from every different genre of music, harder music anyway, you know?
Yeah, it was really cool, man. And they had a camp and stuff for, you know, up and coming, you know, musicians and stuff like that. And, you know, they had like total one-on-one time. And even like Jeff Scott Soto was there. I played a set with him too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hell of a singer.
Yeah. Oh, he's incredible. And a hell of a guy. I mean,
yeah, right.
Yeah, we sat and talked for, we discovered that we had, you know, we were both Dan Reed Network nerds.
Oh, wow.
And we talked about, the Dan Reed Network and how they were formed and how he discovered the Dan Reed Network in Yngwie Malmsteen's house. And, you know, we talked about all that stuff. It was really cool, man. Yeah. And so, yeah, I guess Dan and Jeff have been friends for years, but he stumbled onto them in Yngwie's house. He had like a promotional box of Polygram CDs on the floor or something. And Soto was like, "Can I look through those?" And he's like, "Yeah, take whatever you want." And that's how he found the Dan Reed Network. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Pick up any tips on any vocal tips, I should say, from Jeff Scott Soto, because that guy, you know, I mean, he's a beast.
You know, we actually talked a lot. I was asking him how he copes with time changes and flying to different countries and stuff like that. You know, he had just lost his dad, and a couple of weeks prior, and we talked about how emotionally you're affected, like when you're you know, down and stuff, you know, like if something happens or, you know, flying to another country and experiencing a 12-hour time change or an 8-hour time change, and how, you know, you're when your body wants to be sleeping, you're actually on stage performing, and you're, you know, and adjusting to the time zones and stuff and climates and all that stuff. And he goes, you just pick up little tricks that work for you, you know, along the way. So yeah, it was really cool. I mean, we didn't dig real deep into that, but it was, you know, I asked him how he copes with it, because he was just getting ready to leave for South America.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they had the Sons of Apollo makeup shows and stuff. You know, how did you, or have you yet completed the transition? And by that I mean, you know, going from mainly being like the bass player, backup singer, you know, and now the frontman, and obviously now you don't have your instrument on you, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you feel somewhat naked at times. I know oftentimes you hear that from people where they're like, you know, where they take the role as front man or front person, and they're no longer have their instrument with them. How did that all evolve, and have you made the complete, do you feel comfortable yet at this point in time? I mean, you've had a few performances as the frontman for Loyal Order, so I don't know where you're at with that, but what's your thoughts?
Well, man, it's been like, first and foremost, I mean, I love playing bass. I love playing bass guitar. I like playing Megadeth songs with those guys and stuff on stage, and playing Soto's Stand Up and Shout and all that stuff with him from the Rockstar movie. I just felt really at home doing that. But as far as making the transition of not having a bass guitar on me, like I've it's taken a minute till I get used to the fact that there's not something hanging around my neck.
Right.
But but something has, I'm starting to feel pretty comfortable with it. Like something happened to me. At first I was like chained to a mic stand, and I was, and I was like, and just in rehearsal a few weeks ago, I pulled the mic off of the stand and just started walking around and singing like that. And something happened, and I can't really put my finger on what it was, but all of a sudden I felt like I could do more, and at the show down at Guitars Under the Stars, I learned that you got to be careful how much you do because you're walking away from monitors, or your in-ears and dialed in, and I didn't use in-ears down there. So it's just like, so it was like, it was interesting, but it worked out fine. I gave it my all,
Yeah.
And it felt really good. It felt really good.
Nice. One of the things I was going to ask you about the name of the band, and obviously you have, I think what that's a water buffalo on the debut album cover, right? Is there a Flintstones connection? You tell me. I mean, that was my initial thought, but I never have asked you about it, and I figured right now it'd be a good opportunity, being that it popped into my mind.
Well, I mean, I didn't know that everybody would get it. Obviously, for the people that saw, made the connection, that's actually kind of where it came from, because I was thinking about like bands like the Black Label Society, and how that's just kind of a fold, of people where, and I thought it was a biker gang at first. I started seeing all these jean jackets that said Black Label Society across the back, and I thought, that must be why is there a biker gang here at the NAMM show, is where I first saw it. And I'm like, that's cool, and then I realized it was Zach's band, and I'm like, that's awesome, because it's an inclusive name. And then I just started toying around with some names, and then the name The Loyal Order popped into my head one day. I'm like, where did that come from? And I'm like, oh, it's a Flintstones thing, which is cool. Yeah, right. And I can remember, like, even that being a cartoon, how those guys would, move away. Fred and Barney would go to like the Loyal Order, the Water Buffaloes meetings and stuff. But there's something dark about it, there was a dark, and that's kind of where it always kind of intrigued me, and that's probably why it really stuck as much as it did. But that's, that is the origin of the name. And when we did the album, I thought, well, we should probably put a water buffalo on the album cover and see who gets it.
Yeah. No, that's cool, because that looks great on the t-shirt, and that could almost be like the Motorhead logo with the what is that? It's like an ox or whatever, snaggletooth ox or whatever. No, but that's totally cool. Okay, so it is. I was onto something then.
Yeah, you were. You nailed it, man. And as the artwork develops, it'll probably it'll change a little bit. The water buffalo, there'll always be the reference to it, So yeah, there's something, I think that's it's just cool, and kind of tongue in cheek too at the same time.
Sure. It's cool. And did you guys not add a second guitarist, new guitarist?
Yeah, we have Tim Deck right now is playing with us. And he's been a good friend of us for a long time. He's a good musician, and just a super cool dude. And he was in a band called Black Powder County, and he kind of fronted that. I mean, he was kind of the main leader of that band. And he and Brandon have been friends forever. And Justin has been. He recently got married, and changed. Started doing something with his career, like I think he took some college classes and stuff like that. He just hasn't been his life has been full. you know, so we'll see where that all goes, you know, but, you know, Tim's great. Like, you know, he's been a good ad so far,
Right.
you know.
Cool. So we'll see him in the Dalles on the 19th then.
Yeah, coming to the hometown.
Yeah, so we'll plug that. Obviously, that could become a pretty cool yearly kind of tradition for you guys, being that it's been about a year ago that you guys performed out there.
Yeah, exactly a year minus a day.
Yeah, right.
364 days. And yeah, when Steve and I started talking about doing, I'm like, you know, like if we're gonna do something down there, let's make it an event. And I mean, you know, we could prop up in the corner and, you know, go through our stuff or whatever. But I said, do you want to do that or do you want to do a show? You know, and he said, let's do a show. I said, cool. So we decided to just like do it once a year. And as long as it's going awesome, you know, we'll keep doing it.
Right. No, that's great. So we'll plug that and put the dates up and all this stuff. So, you know, I have to ask you about this just because you were part of this, but Rough Cut, as you know, I'm a huge fan. I saw you guys in Portland when you guys performed up there. Great time, great show, great energy, all that stuff. Performed the classics. You guys did do Black Rose, did a video for that. That was awesome. You know, and that somehow just kind of fell apart. So, you know, are you still in touch with the guys, and what did you learn from that particular experience? Because you did quite a bit of your life in that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was an awesome experience. And you know, I talk to Chris once in a while. I talk to Dave regularly. I talk to Steven quite regularly. Darren and I touch base every now and then. You know, still very much in touch with those guys. And Dave and I are working on some song or two, and we have a couple of other ideas, things that he started pitching at me a couple weeks ago.
Right.
If that comes to fruition, I'll let you know. But yeah, but we're working on a song that he started writing years ago, and he had sat down with Rudolph Schenker. And yeah, he and Rudolph he was plunking around on something one night, and Rudolph was at some party that they were at. I don't know what it was, but anyway, so Schenker like, hey, that's pretty cool. Take this chord and do this, and anyway, they end up coming up with this really cool passageway. I was at Dave's house one night in Los Angeles, and Dave has since moved to South Carolina, but we were outdoors at Dave's house in the back, you know, by the fire. And he picked up an acoustic guitar and started playing this song. And I'm like, what is that? And is that yours? And he goes, yeah, it's something I did, you know? And I'm like, why are we not working on that song? Why are we not recording it? And he goes, well, and he told me the story about Rudolph and stuff. And I was like, and I got up and I walked away. And he goes, what's wrong with you? And I go, I'm not worthy. I was just joking with him, of course.
Right.
But anyway, he thought I was mad or something. And anyway, so we're working on that song.
Cool. Nice.
And yeah, he's got some people in line for that. And yeah, that's just kind of what we're doing, man. Just I'm in touch with those guys. That's kind of sad that it fizzled out the way that it did, but the other guys, the other half of the band, they put a few songs out, and I think you and I touched on that when that was all gone.
Right.
So I was kind of put the kiboshes on it a little bit. It was just weird energy, you know. So, and nothing against those guys. I mean, you know, hey man, like I'm all for having the original lineup together, man. I think that, you know, they were a great band, and they did some cool things, you know. So I mean, who knows? You know, who knows where it's all going to go?
Right. Okay. Well, last thing, I guess I'll just throw this out there. What's one thing you learned from working with the Rough Cut guys? What's one thing that I learned with working with those guys? Takeaway that you brought out of that situation?
You know, dude, I learned a lot just by, you know, I learned what it's, you know, like how a group of musicians can come together from, you know, all corners and like come together and be pro and like show up ready. And like when I auditioned for those guys, they were like, well, what song do you know? And I said, I know all of the ones that you told me to learn. And we just sat down and we put it together. And, you know, I learned that, you know, like, and I think I maintained a good balance of this too. It's like, you know, the original guys, they were the ones that did what they did, you
Right.
know, and it's not my rodeo, you know what I mean? And so I just was as professional as I could possibly be. And you know, I think I played it as well as I possibly could. And, you know, I even reached out to Matt and told him what a great bass player I thought he was and how fun it was learning, you know, his nuances and the stuff that he did. And of course, every human's different. Your brain fires off differently. You can never really perfectly emulate somebody,
Right.
but I, you know, I learned, you know, it's, I think more than anything, I just supported I supported the belief that I had going into it, you know, and that's just to be pro and, you know, to give it what it deserves, you know.
Nice. Yeah. Well, hopefully, you know, some of that stuff comes back out at some point. We can hear that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time. All right.
All right, buddy. Take care, man.
Yep,
It was good to
take care.
talk to you.
Bye.
I'll see you soon.